Wells Fargo Center, Brian Smith, Jason Martinez. Well, let me show the people. I'm going to turn my camera around. I'm broadcasting from the
Possibly, but I don't think anybody can.
You can see there. Everybody on the Flyers wearing the number 28 Claude Giroux warm-up jersey. Those are sharp-looking warm-up jerseys. Everybody's wearing them, but Giroux's wearing a different one.
Oh, is he?
You notice that? He's over by the bench.
I haven't looked for more than by a couple seconds. Oh, look at that.
So he's wearing the regular jersey they're going to wear. Everybody else is wearing a special jersey.
How about that? At least we know which one he is tonight.
Yeah, he'll be easy to find because they all have the Captain C on the sweater as well. So we're doing it from up here tonight. There's going to be a little change in the broadcast tonight. Coatsy has been a late scratch, I'm told, Brian?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Coatsy has a detached retina. He is doing well, but he can't see the game. So he is out for tonight and is also going to be a scratch tomorrow. So the injury bug has even hit the broadcast booth.
Yeah, right. That's when it's getting really.
That's the kind of year we're having.
Crazy.
So he is going to miss the occasion, unfortunately. We hope he's tuning in. I'm sure he's probably not tuning into this part, but hopefully he's comfortable and his lovely wife Lynn is taking care of him and doesn't want to kill him yet. It's only been 3 hours, so it has been interesting 48 hours around here as we shift gears and get things try to get things squared away for tonight and tomorrow. But it's the next man up mentality, right?
Yeah, that's what it's going to be tonight, and just like it is normally, it's not going to be the same. I'm not Coatsy, but we're going to have some fun tonight, and hopefully it's a good night from a hockey standpoint. But before we even get to the hockey tonight, of course, the celebration for the Captains' 1,000th NHL game. We saw some things on social media earlier today from the Flyers Twitter account at NHL Flyers. Some gifts being exchanged in the room after presumably the pregame skate this morning.
Yeah, there's going to be some gifts on the ice here at some point. I'm not sure what's been given to them already and what's been not, to be honest with you. The morning skate this morning was very unusual. We all know that the team plays soccer before the games. I walked into the building this morning right at the start of when morning skate was scheduled, and I walked right into the biggest soccer game I've ever seen. That is not normal. They don't normally play soccer before the morning skate.
Yeah.
And they don't normally play it to the extent that they were playing it today. Everybody that was in the lineup tonight was in that soccer game with the exception of the goaltenders. It's definitely been a different day, a special day here from the very beginning. I can't say that I know the story behind that, what was going on this morning, but it was definitely different. So, whether or not this is 1,000 and final, whether there's more to come here over the next couple of days before the deadline or not, it's been made clear that this night is all about the captain and trying to make it special for him and for his family and friends and everybody that's here.
Yeah, it's a special night, and you can see in the video when his teammates got them his gift, and Sean Couturier had a few things to say, and Scott Lawton as well. A nice new watch, by the way, a nice new timepiece.
Yep.
And they said they left the tag on it for him too, so they could see how much it was. I imagine the gifts in an NHL locker room aren't quite like the Pollyanna at the old office.
And they've changed over the years too. I mean, you remember when? You don't remember. Neither of us remember this, but we've seen the pictures and heard the stories when Barry Ashby retired, and they rolled a camper out onto the ice.
Yeah.
They gave him a camper. A little bit of a different atmosphere these days. And it depends on the personality, I guess, of the guy you're giving it to. I could see
Iverson got like a fishing boat.
Yeah, I could see some guys getting a camper. It's a nice touch. They not only was it him, but his wife Ryan and his boys are involved as well. They're going to get some gifts tonight. So it'll be a family affair here, and very rare that this happens with one team. Think of all the players that have played in the National Hockey League over the years.
Yeah.
Claude's only the 71st to do the whole thing with one team. The other guy that's done it here, Bob Clark, will be on the ice tonight for the ceremony. So he's on hand. And we're going to have some special touches even in the radio broadcast as well. We're going to get a chance to hear some of Claude's biggest goals from over the years, going all the way back to his the 2009-2010 season, which was his second year, not his rookie year, second year. So we've got some oldies, we got some goodies. Timmy's voice changed a little bit over the years. I noticed that.
Oh, yeah.
It's been interesting to go get some of those old ones. But that's going to be part of the broadcast tonight as well. So we're going to have a lot of fun here, and hopefully the Flyers can stage things up with a victory tonight.
Well, to kind of accentuate the night, we're seeing more people in the bowl and down towards the glass here for pregame warm-up than I recall at all this season.
Yeah.
All standing. Really, they're packed into the Flyers' end. They got to look at the captain because they don't know. There are a lot of Flyer jerseys down there, too, with 28 on the back. Just look down, and that's what you see 95% of right now are the Claude Giroux jerseys. And we don't know if this is the last game that he'll play, at least this season, for the Flyers, as we inch closer and closer to the deadline, which is on Monday. The Flyers are slated to play tomorrow, where he started his career and basically where he's from in Ottawa. But who knows if we'll make that trip. But Flyer fans here getting a look at the captain during warm-up and the other players with special jerseys. Very cool.
It is kind of hard to believe that, and I think I just closed the wrong window. Sorry, give me a minute to get back in. You should still have my audio, I think, Jay, on the stream. But the way that it's kind of laid out over the years, for you and I mean, we've been here for his entire career, just about.
Yeah.
I actually had him with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Lehigh. God, thank goodness that habit has crept in. I should be back backstage now, Jay. I think, going back to that, we drafted in 2006. That was the first draft after the lockout draft. Came to the Flyers on an emergency basis, 07-08 for a couple of games. Turned pro in 2008. And he played the first half of that season with the Phantoms. And believe it or not, you look back on it, we were realizing this as we were looking for some stuff for him. At first training camp, he was, kind of like Morgan Frost and some other young players over the years, he was deemed not ready for the NHL. He came to camp and they said, look, you need to go down to the American Hockey League for a while. And they shredded that. He went down there. He was the second leading scorer in the American Hockey League when he was recalled on December the 26th, and then he never went back except for like one weekend, I think, during the All-Star break. But he went down there and took care of what he needed to take care of, and it obviously paid off for him. 33 games, 17 goals, 17 assists, 34 points. And even once he got to the NHL, we actually, as far in as the 2010 Winter Classic up in Boston, we had to go to our secondary set of archive photos from that game to find a decent picture of him, because he was still only like a third line, fourth line player. He played most of that game with Darryl Powell. Yeah. We have a couple of different photo archives. One of them is indexed. We can type in a name and the pictures come up. Well, when we do that for that game, nothing really good came up. Yeah. We actually had to go back to the ones that aren't indexed. There's about 3,000 of them in that game, and that's how we found some pictures of them from that game. So even back then, he wasn't a star yet. He wasn't being used anywhere near the way he was, maybe 1 or 2 years later. So he definitely slid into his career and came into his own. Certainly did it early, but it did take some time. Yeah, you started to really know something was, he was going to be a really good player. He had a good regular season in 9-10, and he had 16 goals, 31 assists, 47 points. But then in the playoffs, in 23 games, he had 21 points. Yeah, that's when you said, okay, and you saw the hockey IQ. As the game and every inch of ice got contested, you saw his game come to him and confidence grow like crazy. And then he's off and running. The next year, he's got a 76-point season. And then, following that,
some really big years, obviously. 48 points in 48. That's when he became the captain in the 2012-13 season. Then in 86, 73, 67, 58. There's 3 years where his points were descending and people were wondering if his best days are behind him. But then, boom, he comes back and has 102.
Yeah.
Career high in goals that season with 34. He had that double core surgery prior to that. So,
yeah, that's exactly what was dragging him down. And we talk about that a lot, about that core surgery. You kind of almost see it getting worse over those 4 seasons, 86, 73. And then, it was probably done after the 67-point season. The 58-point season is working your way back.
Exactly.
Because that takes so much.
Ghost both had it that year.
Yeah.
Yep.
It takes so much for a player. And then he comes out healthy again in 17-18, and bang, 102 points, 85 points the next year. And clicking along at those paces in both of the shortened seasons after that. So, he has basically kind of gotten better with age, especially in the face-off circle. And I don't think he's anywhere near done yet. It's going to be very interesting to see, assuming that he does not finish this season here. Does he come back? Does he go somewhere else? Whatever. But wherever he ends up next year, he's going to have a lot left in the tank. And I think he's going to thrive again in hopefully another normal year next year, or at least closer to normal even than what we had this year.
Yeah. And you can sense in the media availability, he's a guy that, he's a professional hockey player and he's a captain, used to being the center of the attention, but this is kind of been beyond hockey. And I'm sure when this part's over and the deadline's over and the dust settles, whether he's here or somewhere else, I think more likely somewhere else, then be able to kind of breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah, I'm sure that eventually this is going to start to wear on you. Whether it's
him, he shies away from this.
Yeah, whether you're good or whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, you're going to kind of be in a situation where you are a little bit tired of everything else that goes along with it. So it sounds like from the media availability the other day that his goal was to get to this game tonight, get through this game tonight, and then the mindset changes a little bit when you wake up tomorrow. So again, I think it's going to be a bit of a relief to get it all done. It's not too far off from your wedding, right? You have everything leading up to it and all the attention's on you. And
then you go, that's all over.
Once it's done, you're ready to be on with it. So this is the closest thing in terms of a celebration I think I've seen beyond except for a jersey retirement night. I mean, this is a big
2018 in Lindros's jersey. Is that the last one pre-COVID?
Yeah. But and basically we've had 2 in the last 10 years, Mark Howe and Eric Lindros. And to me, this almost carries the weight of a Flyers Hall of Fame induction. I don't know if they're going to just file all this stuff away to use when that time comes, because we know it's coming at some point. But that's kind of what it feels like here in this game. It's nice. It's nice to be able to do this for a guy while he's still here, while he's still playing, to kind of celebrate a career. When he's still got some mileage left to give. And then, I think his career is going to be celebrated a couple more times here over the next 10 years or so.
Well, the thing is getting to 1,000 games is an accomplishment. We've seen guys, as a member of the Flyers, get to 1,000 games. But I don't recall when Bob Clark got there, if it was a home game or not, for his 1,000th game. But this is more special because it's all with one team, the team that drafted you.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it even more significant. 4% of the players that have ever played this game at the NHL level have played 1,000 games, and even less have played it all in one place. Only 71.
Yeah.
So it is a rarity that we'll see tonight. And Claude sitting right on 900 points, and once again in this game tonight, he'll be a factor because he's going to be relied upon to be one, playing center on the top line tonight, along with Morgan Frost and Travis Konechny.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shuffle there. It's going to be a couple of shuffles here tonight, that being one of them. It is an opportunity here for the Flyers to bounce back from that Montreal loss. It's that I feel like this whole thing that was going on tonight has helped the Flyers get over that loss a little bit more quickly than they would have otherwise.
Yeah.
That would have been – they would have been still kind of wallowing in that if not for all this being distracted by this. So that might be good. It might be let them play a little more free tonight. But, looking back on it, Bob Clark's 1,000th career game was 1982, October 23rd, 1982 against Pittsburgh. I don't think it was as celebrated back then. I don't know if that's.
You would think it would be, considering the league was even younger.
Yeah, but there were things back then that were just. They just weren't quite looked at as being as remarkable as they are now, because you realize how rarely it happens. I mean, it's his 1,000th career point is talked about a lot in the history books, but his 1,000th career game is almost just an afterthought. So,
and I guess they didn't have the social media back then.
No, we did not have Twitter
the debates
in 1982.
Yeah, so we'll see a bit of Flyers history tonight. Only the second player to play 1,000 games in the orange and black. So there's a hockey game. We're going to join our radio audience now. That's right. It is a pregame show. Jason Martinez, Brian Smith in a different perch tonight up high atop the Wells Fargo Center in the press box, broadcast booth, or commentator's booth, whatever you want to call it, as the Flyers get set to take on the Nashville Predators. Claude Giroux's 1,000th NHL game. Warm-ups just wrapped up, Ryan. Try and set the scene for our radio audience as all the players are wearing 28 with a C. A lot of captains out there.
Yeah, you've seen this more and more lately with some of these big nights celebrating a specific player. Flyers are able to do that with a guy that's actually playing in the game, which is a little bit rare. Usually you're celebrating this for somebody who's retired, but they were able to do that with Claude tonight. The evening has a logo featuring the 28 prominently, with the Flyers logo and autograph, 1,000 NHL games played. It is all over the building here tonight. And, as for us, we should explain up front. Jason is going to be sitting in for Steve Coates tonight.
Yep.
Coates, has a detached retina. He is doing well, but he is a scratch tonight, scratch tomorrow night in Ottawa. And they're going to reevaluate him over the weekend.
Yeah, I cannot travel to Ottawa because I have not been COVID tested.
Yeah, and he is a possibility for Sunday.
So he's day-to-day.
He's day-to-day. The injury bug that has plagued this team all season has reached the broadcast booth. So that's how bad it's getting.
That makes me want to fill in.
Don't be the guy that comes in next man up and is out after the first shift, right?
Yeah,
because I'm going to be downstairs by the time the first shift is over. But yeah, we're gonna get through it. We hope Coates is comfortable, doing well. We have kind of a secondary thing going on here tonight. Terry Crisp, who was the former Flyer, who was part of the Stanley Cup teams and went on to a great coaching career before becoming a broadcaster. He is retiring from the broadcast side of the business after this season. He works for Nashville. He's here in the building tonight, and he's going to join us in the broadcast in the second period. So we have a lot of great stuff crammed into this one here all night. You're going to hear some Claude Giroux highlights. We have some of his bigger goals from his career that we've pulled, and we're going to play them back and reminisce over those. And, in between all of this stuff, we hope we get a win tonight here for the Flyers, trying to bounce back from that terrible loss to Montreal the other day. Honestly, the distractions here have kind of helped them, I think, get by a little bit quicker, but they definitely want to punctuate that with a win tonight.
A little pomp and a little circumstance.
A little bit.
Tonight in this game. When you look back at Claude Giroux's career, Brian, there's obviously some really memorable moments. We were talking about this down at dinner. I was talking with JJ and Jonesy about this. And the great moments, and I think the easy one is, quote, the shift against Pittsburgh in that game, where we come to find out after it that he went to Peter Laviolette and asked to be on that first shift to set the tone in that game. He houses Crosby, eventually on the same shift, opens the scoring, 1-0 Flyers on the first shift of the game. But to me, the Stadium Series is another big moment, overtime, and the celebration. But to me, the 30-second ragging of the puck against Boston.
Yeah.
Up a goal in a game. Late. Just couldn't get it from him. They had all five guys trying to get the puck from him. Couldn't.
That was we talked a little bit. We were doing a streaming pregame show here right before. We talked a little bit about how he came into his own over the first couple of seasons of his NHL career. He got to the NHL in 2008, was deemed not ready, went down to the American Hockey League for half a season, came up for Christmas, never left. But even over the next year and a half, he was, or the next year really, he was kind of still playing third, fourth line minutes. In that playoff, though, he really kind of started to climb the ladder. And I think you're right. He had a couple of big goals in the New Jersey series, but they get to that Boston series, and that was one of the underrated defining moments, I think, in his ascension to where he basically was starting in 10-11, when I believe was the year he won his first Bobby Clark Trophy. His first All-Star appearance, that playoff run boosted him up to that. And it's funny when you think about little things that could have affected an organization's history and their timeline. One shootout goal away from not even making that playoff run. And then he goes out there and does what he does against Boston. Obviously, the Montreal series was big, and then he gets that overtime winner against Chicago, and a bit of confidence that just propelled him to the next level very quickly.
Yeah, and we know, the other thing about his career is the exceptional playmaking, but he does have some pretty big game-winning goals on his resume as well, and done a good job in that regard and rising to the moment. And he'll look to build on it tonight, and we'll let the cards fall where they fall as far as the future of Claude Giroux as a member of the Philadelphia Flyers. But in this game tonight, and the game against Montreal last night, and we were almost speechless doing the post-game show because of the way things played out. Yeah. Getting scored on the power play to tie it and then lose it eventually on that Caulfield shot in overtime. In the first two periods of that game, though, it was something I mentioned on Flyers Daily for the next day, but it wasn't something to celebrate at the time. Not that you should celebrate just a player playing well, but Morgan Frost looked good in that game. He's going to play with Giroux and Konechny. You'd like to see him put two together and have a good game as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It took me a while, but I finally figured out a day or two later. I feel like that was the worst loss I've seen the Flyers have since, if you recall, back in 18-19. They were trying to make a run back into the playoff race. They had gotten within 4 points of Montreal, and they went into Montreal with an opportunity basically to pull even with them, and they lost. And there was something about that loss that just was completely deflating. I think they only won 2 times the rest of the season. That game was March 19th of that year, and that just kind of. But apart from that, I mean, other than losses that eliminated you from the playoffs or whatever, I mean, that was one of the worst I've seen. So you just hope that the team takes that and channels that along with this energy into a solid performance tonight. And it's a learning experience for some of the younger guys, including Morgan Frost, who is, again, maybe a guy that was like Giroux was 15 years ago, 13 years ago, whatever it's been, that is ready to take the next step and, is looking for an opportunity to develop into it.
Preparations on the ice right now getting underway for the pregame ceremony. And we've talked about this. It's kind of a rarity that you get this kind of ceremony before a 1,000th game. Usually it's when the player returns, but this is obviously unique because he's hitting 1,000 a little bit later than he originally would have had he not missed some time because of COVID protocols. But it's going to be before the game. We're going to carry it for you here on the Flyers Broadcast Network. There's going to be a tribute video. There'll be some gifts. The family will come out. And, one thing to avoid, though, is anytime there's a disruption to a hockey player's routine or rhythm, that can be a problem. Like teams after pronounced retirement ceremonies or number, it's a tough spot because it almost takes your regular routine and your edge off a little bit.
It got to the point where the NHL actually put in regulations for it. I believe the ceremony we're having tonight, it pushes puck drop back 8 minutes from its normal time, and that's about as long a ceremony as you can have after warm-ups these days. That a lot of the bigger ceremonies, you actually have to do them before the warm-ups now, and that's an NHL policy to avoid exactly what you're talking about. That the teams, they get cold, they don't want to increase the chance of injury or anything like that too, but you just don't want it to affect the game. So that's kind of where that comes from. But this is going to be one that they can get in right before the game starts, which is nice.
Does the opposition, did Nashville have to agree to that as well?
I would imagine so. Yes. And I think for the most part, teams are pretty open to it, unless there's a situation like, okay, this team is, if it's like they try to avoid doing this then, but if it's the last week of a regular season and the team needs like 2 points to get back into a playoff position or something like that, but it's a really big deal, then they can, I'm sure that they can say, hey, we're not going to do this. But for the most part, organizations work together. I've seen the Flyers, fly a complete set of jerseys to another city on the day of a game because the home team wanted to wear a certain set of jerseys, and the message kind of got lost in translation. So they do everything they can to accommodate stuff like that.
Yeah, be good partners in the league together. As we're waiting the ceremony to begin, I guess it'll start about 5 after 7 when the official ceremony will begin to honor Claude Giroux's 1,000th NHL game as the Flyers get set to take on the Nashville Predators here tonight. Could have been against Montreal.
Yeah,
that would have been fitting for a French-Canadian kid, but it didn't work out that way. So it's Nashville and the Flyers tonight. Claude Giroux's game 1,000. So stay tuned because all the festivities and the game will follow. Tim Saunders is also sitting by, ready to bring the countdown to face-off and all the first period action between the Flyers and the Preds right here on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network.